We're simple as a company. I mean, the whole project is about basically eliminating the environmental impact of personal transportation. There will be a need for more personal transport. People want to go about, and there will be more and more cars about. We can't do anything about that. So instead of finding different solutions, we say, well, we'll make a car that's actually very efficient and using very little energy.
The industry worked out 100 years ago that pressed steel bodies and internal combustion engines was the right way to go, and they've optimised that. But you have to respond to the environment, and I think that's what we're trying to do, is saying there are real constraints now that weren't in place 100 years ago.
If we start from scratch, from a blank sheet of paper, and use that approach, we can make something radically better, a proper leap forward in terms of efficiency. We want it to be as robust as possible, as simple as possible, as cheap as possible to maintain, as fewer parts as possible, which is completely the opposite of what drives normal car manufacturers. We've made some calculations, and the best, most efficient and best for the environment really would be a hydrogen fuel cell electric car. And with our technology and the way we've done it, we can achieve about 300 miles per gallon. Producing a very lightweight vehicle is very important because most of the cars now weigh 1.5 tons, so you're displacing lots of metal for nothing. And battery electric cars will be heavy because you need to carry a lot of batteries because they are heavy at the moment. Technology-wise, I think we're on the right path today, and probably for the foreseeable future, really, until there is a really breakthrough in either batteries or something different.
Part of our motivation is to drastically reduce the impact of transport on the environment. And so sharing our ideas is a natural part of that. We're not going to keep them to ourselves.
Some people say, well, that's mad because it's all about keeping your intellectual property. And we say, well, in the auto industry, actually, we think that the car makers make their difference on the image, on the brand, on the service, but not actually on technology. All the cars around are pretty much the same. Locking your intellectual property slows down innovation, it slows down progress. If you open your design, it means anyone can see the technology. So you still do the styling your way, and your production your way, and the service your way, and the brand your way, but the technology can be open, can be shared.
Different people from around the world will join in and share their thoughts. We have this archetype of the lone inventor sitting in his room and saying, Eureka. And actually, a lot of the classic inventors like Thomas Edison worked in teams. There's very much a sense in an open source world where inventions emerge. It might be one person possibly has an initial idea, but actually to take that to it being really useful and applicable, it's a whole journey of conversations, and it has to be taken and moulded and shared. And I think it must be very rare for it just to be one person in a room. We almost certainly will get patents on the car, but we will license them perhaps more freely than Ford or Toyota might. So it's about protecting the ideas, but using that to enforce freedom of ideas, rather than using it to keep the ideas for ourselves. We had a huge response of more than 500 very talented engineers, software, mechanical designers from all around the world have said, well, how can we help?
The whole business model will be leasing the cars only and not selling them. If you look at car manufacturers now, they have an incentive to make a car that actually falls apart, and they want you to buy a new car every couple of years. And we say, well, if we retain the ownership of the car and make people pay the use of it, we'll have to design the car so it lasts as long as possible. So we'll keep, as a company, we'll keep ownership of the car for about 20 years. It's not just about having crazy ideas and talking about it, and it's about actually making something real.
Talented, passionate people are joining us because we're doing the right thing. So I have a lot of confidence. I do think that we've got every bit as chance as anybody else in having cars in the world in 20 years' time. Darwin said, it's not the strongest that survive, it's the most adaptable. And that's our constant refrain.